Welcome back to the Bettors on 5th of May, Wednesday morning. We will break down all the games, a little bit of change of odds screen as the sports book review NBA screen is acting up. So if you are watching the stream, I've just pulled up the Bet365 page. They have lines for all the games right now. So we will take a look at the NBA games here and go back to the sports book review site for the MLB breakdown. All right, let's get into it. If you have any comment or feedback, you know where to find me at the Barrel Zone on Twitter. If you want to tell my plays, you can go to patreon.com/the Barrel Zone and join the Discord channel. First game on the board, Boston Celtics at the Orlando Magic, 10.5 point spread currently on Bet365. Yeah, it's a difficult game to bet into. Boston is on extra rest, but Tatum is out and Tristan Thompson is questionable. On the Orlando side, Michael Carter Williams, Ennis Isaac, Okeke Porter, and Ross are all out. These are the usual candidates. They really didn't play too many games recently. 10.5, in my opinion, is just too many points to lay with Boston. They are extremely mediocre. This is a team that has been always around the league average, both on the offensive end and on the defensive end. And laying 10 plus points on the road with a team like that's a big no-no for me. My line here is around 9. I think 10.5 has some line value with the Magic, but obviously not going there. They have the fifth worst record, 3-7 in the last, and not a team you would want to back. Portland Trailblazers at the Cleveland Cavaliers, 10.5 point spread. Blazers with the probable tag on Lillard. Probable tags are our enemy at this point in the season. You should steer clear of games with stars getting tagged as probable. Teams will know that when they can rest guys, they will rest guys, and this is the prime spot to rest Lillard. So if he won't play, I don't think you should be surprised. Cleveland on a back-to-back, coming off an overtime game that they lost. They played extremely high minutes. The Cavs used a 7-man rotation last night. Okoro played 47 minutes, Osman 45 minutes. So yeah, Cleveland is tanking, so they will also use any excuse to sit out guys, and you could see a total bare bones Cleveland team here. Not a game I would be getting involved with. I make it 9.5 Portland if everyone is playing for Cleveland, but I don't see that being the case, and Lillard being probable is enough for me to just not really care. Memphis Grizzlies is at the Minnesota Timberwolves, 4.5 point spread. This is an interesting game. I'm looking to back the Memphis Grizzlies here, and it's really a very simple reason. They have been playing super bad lately. The Timberwolves have been playing good basketball lately, but the Grizzlies are a good team, and the Timberwolves aren't. The Wolves are getting all kinds of praises. Yes, they played an okay game against the Utah Jazz, but the Jazz didn't have Mitchell and Conley, and the rest of the opponents the Timberwolves had were in this recent upswing streak were the Houston Rockets, who are bad, the Golden State Warriors, who are bad, the Pelicans, who are bad, and the Kings, who are bad. So yeah, I didn't upgrade the Timberwolves based on that. Yes, their stats look nice, but and I think they will start losing to cap the season. They now only have the third worst record after holding on to the worst record in the league, and three teams behind them are within one loss. So they will need to start losing, and they will need to cut this bull crap of trying to win games. Memphis is just a tough team. They had a couple of subpar games, but I think the effort is there and the shots will try to fall. Shots will end up falling sooner than later. And this Timberwolves team is still a bad defense. It's not a team I'm a believer in. My raw numbers put this spread at 5.5. So even at 4.5 minus 105, I would probably look at the Memphis Grizzlies. We've played this earlier on the Discord with the guys at minus 3.5. Obviously, that's a better line, but I think this is still some value at 4.5, and the Grizzlies should cover this. Philadelphia 76ers, 14.5 point favorites at Houston. Not really going to break this game down. Houston with a mile-long injury report as usual. Wall, Gordon, House, Exum, everyone basically out. Philly in the driver's seat to win the East right now. They have one more win than Brooklyn and two less losses, which is huge. They are almost a lock right now to finish in the first seed if they don't screw up anything. As Brooklyn lost to the Bucks again. So yeah, I'm expecting a nice effort from Philly and easily a double-digit W, but we don't know if it will come by 15 or more points or not. Yeah, I think 14.5 is a nice spread here. I would make this close to that. Phoenix Suns at the Atlanta Hawks. Phoenix laying 1.5 point on the road. This is an interesting game. I like this game. The Suns are coming off a back-to-back, so they played last night against Cleveland. So they were the other team in that overtime game that they ended up winning in the end against the Cavaliers. This is also their third game in 4 nights with travel, and due to the OT, they played pretty high minutes. Booker played 40 minutes, Chris Paul 36 minutes, and they are now traveling to Atlanta to take on this young Hawks squad that hasn't been impressive lately. I think if you watch their games or just looked at the stats, I don't think the Hawks have been playing super well in the last few weeks. I'm not really impressed. But I think you cannot lay points on the road with the Suns in this spot. Atlanta is one of those teams where you are facing them on tired legs, and we've seen this with Portland just a few days ago. They are going to hurt you, and Chris Paul playing super high minutes before the playoffs. Maybe even he sits out. We could see the Suns starting sit a few guys out or just limit the minutes. And that's not what you want to see when you are handicapping a team at full strength. And the minus 1.5 is exactly my line if everyone is playing for the Suns, so no value. Kings at the Pacers, 5.5 point spread. Pacers laying 5.5 points. That's a ton. With no Turner and loads of questionables, Brogdon, Lamb, Bitadze, all questionables. For the Kings, they started tanking. I don't think there is anyone else denying that. Barnes, Fox, Halliburton out. The news came out that Halliburton will stay out for the rest of the season. Somehow the Kings won their last 3 games, but I think they will go on a bit of a losing streak here to cap the season. I don't really have any real lean here. I think this 5.5, 6 is fine, but I cannot lay this many points with the Pacers, especially now that their coach is looking like he will lose his job. More and more news and reports come out of the locker room. No one is really liking Nate Bjorkgren, and he is likely leaving the team in the offseason. So yeah, I just don't know what they expected. I mean, they don't really have too much talent in Indiana, and I think where they are in the standings, that's kind of realistic. Washington Wizards at the Milwaukee Bucks. Bucks laying 6.5 points. Bucks also on a back-to-back third game in 4 nights after that grueling Brooklyn game. They played back-to-back games against Brooklyn, and now they lay 7 points against the Wizards, a team that you would think is easily overlooked by the top teams. But the way the Wizards are playing right now, top defense, good free throw rate, getting to the rim, getting those easy baskets, high energy stuff. You cannot afford to overlook the Wizards. So I didn't play them yet, and I don't have a number edge. I make this 7. So I'm likely not going to bet the Wizards unless we get a 7, and then I might. But I think the spot is bad for the Bucks. Coming off two tough games last night, Giannis played 37 minutes, Holiday and Middleton 36. Um, they cannot afford to take this one easy, and I think the Wizards know that they are in a prime spot here, and we will see 100% effort from them. And I think this will be close. I'm still obviously leaning Bucks to win this, but if I would have to make like a personal lean slash play, I would play the Wizards here. All right, two games left. Denver Nuggets hosting the New York Knicks. Knicks 3.5 point dogs on the road. I cannot really touch this game again. Jokic is tagged as probable. I think this might be the first time that he is on the injury report in the entire season. Or yeah, he might have missed a few games, but I don't think he did. So a probable tag this deep in the season is bad, especially that now the Nuggets are without Dozier as well. So they are without Murray, Morris, Barton, and Dozier, and Jokic is probable. This is not a deep team, and the Knicks are fighting like crazy. I really believe that the Knicks will be grinded down by the Grizzlies, but they weren't, and I'm not sure that the Nuggets are that feisty at this point in the season. I make this 3, so I think the line will eventually come back to 3. So already leaning towards 3 here, but I think Pinnacle will trade this at 3, and 3 is just not enough points for me to take with the Knicks against going up, possibly, probably versus Jokic. But on the other end, you cannot touch not the Nuggets here with Jokic being on the injury report, no matter if he's tagged probable or not. San Antonio Spurs at the Utah Jazz, 7.5 point spread. This is another game where Conley and Mitchell will sit out for the Jazz. I would make this spread 10.5 with Devin. So this is just a 3-point downgrade, which I'm not sure is enough. I tell you that. Yes, they scored. The Jazz scored around 4 points less on the offensive end since those guys went out, but they still do hold the plus 9.4 point differential, and they are outperforming the closing spreads. We will see how this spread shapes up. And but I don't want to get involved on either side. Spurs lost 4 straight games. They are only 2 games up on the Pelicans right now. Previously, that was like 4 or 5, and it really seemed like the Pelicans are out of it, but they are maybe not out of it yet. This grinding style of basketball, I think no one is doing it better than the Jazz, and the Spurs are always partner when it comes to that. When it comes to playing like this grinding basketball game, these two played 2 days ago. Spread was Utah minus 7.5, minus 109 there. But the Spurs were on a back-to-back. So if you factor that in, that they are not on a back-to-back here, I think this 7.5 will come down. So yeah, I'm showing a small edge in the Spurs here, but I really don't think this is a good stylistic matchup for them. All right. So summing it up, I really only have one play: the Memphis Grizzlies at 4.5 minus 105. I think that's the last point where I would play this. I make this 5.5. You can still find forwards out there if you look around. I think that's a bet for sure. And I have a personal lean on the Wizards at 6.5. I think the Bucks' third game in 4 nights back to back, coming off a really tough series. If this becomes a 7, I will be in, as I make it 7, and I rarely go against my numbers. But I think this current Wizards team is one that will make it difficult for the Bucks if they overlook them. All right, let's switch back to sports insights, and we will talk some baseball. We have a big slate, but only a couple of interesting games, so I will go quick on the not so interesting ones. First game on the board: Baltimore at Seattle. No, that's not the first game on the board. First game on the board, White Sox at Cincinnati, Keuchel at Sonny Gray. 125 home favorite Sonny Gray. He's coming off a great game against the Dodgers. He struck out 11 in 5 innings. I think this was by far his best start, by far the best he looked. He's still not a guy I'm 100% trusting. I love his skill set, but I think I would need like a few more games before I start backing him. The underlying numbers are nice across the board, but I think Keuchel could be a tough matchup for the Reds. The Reds have super extreme splits, but they are one of the worst offenses against lefties in the league. They only have a 79 WRC plus and a 120 ISO. And Keuchel, he's a difficult guy to really hurt. 56% ground ball rate, 31% hard hit rate. He only gives up 20% fly balls, 14% infield pop-up rate. And I kind of want to fade the Reds overall. They have been extremely hard to start the season, but they are getting lucky in close games. They are outperforming some advanced metrics on the offensive end, and this is not a guy that's easy to beat up on. So yeah, I would personally lean towards staying away here. I think there is no value on either side. I make Cincinnati with Gray minus 120. So yeah, minus 125 is just a bit overpriced. San Francisco at Colorado, Webb at Gray. This opened up as the Rockies being favorites and quickly flipped to San Fran being a road favorite, and I agree with it. John Gray was pitching against Arizona the last time out. He gave up 4 earned runs in 6 innings on 9 hits. It was a super easy matchup in a great pitching ballpark, and he couldn't really capitalize on it. His swinging strike rate is still below league average, walk rate at almost 10%. He's limiting hard contact well, but I'm not buying him that much. And his only luck is that the Giants are way, way, way weaker against right-handed pitching than lefties. They have an 89 WRC plus against righties, and they strike out almost 29% of the time, which is really wild. So yeah, Gray, I'm not backing him. Webb on the other end, the underlying metrics are nice for the kid. 3.7 Sierra, 10.5% swinging strike rate, 57% ground ball rate, just a 28% hard hit rate, high infield pop-up rate, only 18% fly balls. And the Rockies, one of the worst offenses against right-handed pitching. But Webb hasn't been getting that many swings and misses recently in the last couple of starts. He has no experience in pitching at Coors Field. And it's a really difficult play to pitch at. Breaking balls are difficult to command, and it's not easy. And my line here is Giants minus 104, so I'm almost exactly where the market is. And I agree that the Giants need to be really slight favorites on the road here. Webb has better underlying stats. The Giants are the better team. They have the better bullpen. But Gray knows how to pitch at home, and I'm still not afraid of this Giants offense, really, so I'm staying away. Baltimore at Seattle, Means and Kikuchi. This is an interesting game. I'm looking at the under here. 7.5. It's super juiced on Pinnacle right now, but you can find like a minus 111 on BetCris or Bookmaker. That's, I think, a bet for me. I'm liking both of these arms. Both of them are coming off their best games. Kikuchi pitched a 7-inning game against Houston with 7 Ks and only 1 hit. We know that he's a super talented guy. When he's on, he's really on, and he's unhittable. Through the season, the stats are also like okay: 12% swinging strike rate, 49% ground ball rate, only 26% hard contact. The Orioles against lefties striking out like crazy, only a 5% walk rate. So overall, I think it's a nice matchup. And don't forget, this is one of the weakest offenses in the league. On the other end, Means coming off a 9K outing against Oakland, he went 7 innings, only gave up 3 hits against pretty powerful Oakland team that's good at beating up on lefties. And Means came out of that game with a really nice stat. He has a 14.4% swinging strike rate, 27% K rate through the season, only 32% hard contact, 22% infield pop-up rate. So yeah, I like both pitchers. Neither bullpen is terrible. I think both offenses are bad. The Orioles are just bad, and the Mariners are a bit overperforming, but they aren't too good either. So 7.5 under is my bet. I would probably stick to like this minus 111 on Chris Bookmaker, and I wouldn't lay this minus 116 on Pinnacle. That's a bit, but that's a bit too much juice there. All right, the Mets game, we are skipping this. The Mets will play a doubleheader, so this game will be just a 7-inning one, and there will be another Mets game. Miami hosting Arizona. Luke Weaver at Pablo Lopez. Lopez laying minus 143. My line here is minus 122. So yeah, we got to a point where the Marlins are overpriced, but Pablo Lopez is very good. Luke Weaver is just okay. I think this Marlins offense is still not too scary, so Weaver could have an okay game. He's giving up 45% hard contact, 33% line drive rate against righties. But the stats aren't as terrible. So he's like a bit worse than a league average pitcher. Obviously, pitching is a bit better this year as the offense overall is down in the league by a pretty big margin. But yeah, Weaver is missing bats and he won't get a better matchup than this. On the other hand, Pablo Lopez is a guy I'm not fading. So yeah, 7.5. Maybe the under is a lean here, but I'm not touching it. I show a small edge on the Arizona team, but they are still banged up, and this is not an offense I would probably trust. Atlanta at Washington, Max Fried, Eric Fedde. Fried coming back from the injured reserve. This is his first start in a couple of weeks. I'm not backing pitchers, especially on the road, as road favorites coming off the IL. Fried has great underlying metrics. He's probably the best arm in Atlanta that they have right now, healthy. But I'm not laying anything with him on the road. Eric Fedde for the Nats, coming off a great start, but he is a guy that will fool you with a few better starts, but he's pretty bad. 7% swinging strike rate, 84% contact rate. He's averaging just 4 innings, 4.4. The bullpen is bad behind him. I still don't like the Nationals offense, so I'm staying away here. I show a small edge on the home team, Washington, but I'm factoring in Fried not being like a super 100% here. I make this Atlanta minus 108, so I would not get involved with the road favorite at all. Milwaukee at Philadelphia, Freddie Peralta at Chase Anderson. Chase Anderson, ex-Brewers, so the Brewers are facing one of their old pitchers. That's always a spot where you should lean towards the team that knows everything about their old pitcher. Freddie Peralta is a great arm. He shut down the Dodgers his last time out, 7 Ks with only 1 hit in 6 innings. His Sierra is under 3, K rate above 40%. He's just amazing. I really like the guy. But the Brewers as big growth favorites is still something I cannot do. Yes, Kane and Yelich are back. Yes, Peralta is great. Yes, they know everything about Chase Anderson. They are likely winning this game, and Chase Anderson is just super bad. 5.4 ERA, almost a 5 Sierra. His walk rate is above 10%. 6+ FIP against lefties. Righties with a 43% hard contact, 48% fly ball rate. He's only averaging 4.2 innings per game as well. Bullpen behind him is not one you want to trust. So yeah, all the reasons why Milwaukee should be overpriced, and they are overpriced. I think books are kind of begging for Philly money here, but I don't see it coming. We could see this go up to like minus 140, minus 145, and even then I wouldn't back Philadelphia. Houston at the New York Yankees. Garcia at Montgomery, minus 133 favorites. The New York Yankees. We backed them yesterday, but the price was way cheaper, and I felt way more strongly about that matchup. Montgomery is a lefty, and Houston is the best offense right now in the league against lefties. They don't strike out. They have tons of power, 120 WRC plus. And Montgomery is giving up a bit too much hard contact for my liking, 37% hard hit rate. He's missing some bats, but I think he's a he's his price is fine. I don't have any issue with the current line, but I don't see value in backing a lefty against Houston, and the lefty that's giving up plenty of hard contact. But Montgomery is a guy I'm really high on, and we will have spots to back him, like as a road favorite, slight road favorite. But this is a tough matchup. Garcia, I think he's facing an easier matchup overall. He has a 15% swinging strike rate. Yankees like to swing. His hard hit rate only at 27%, high infield fly ball rate, strong overall stats against the right side of the plate, and good stats overall. I think this is a better matchup for Garcia, and that's why I'm staying away. Better matchup for Houston, and the price is a bit worse on the Yankees than it was yesterday, but they are a team to back. They are huge positive regression candidates starting to hit. They aren't priced as high as they should be. My number here is minus 138. So actually, I show a small edge on the Yankees, but not going to play it unless this really comes down. I would probably need like a minus 125 to get involved with the Yankees again. Detroit at Boston, Casey Mize, Martin Perez. Perez laying almost 200 at home. He's coming off his best outing of the season. He has been pitching below his talent level. Mize is a guy who has good raw stuff. He finally found a nice start in his last outing against the White Sox, but I'm still monitoring him. I'm not backing him. Detroit is a bad offense. Perez, I think, is a better pitcher than we've seen so far. So yeah, there is no value on either side, and you should skip this one. Next game is a bit more interesting. LA Dodgers at the Cubs. Walker Buehler, Azalea. Azalea is a risky arm. He's super wild, but the raw talent is there. He has a 3.4 Sierra, which is really low, 14% swinging strike rate, 27% hard hit rate. His contact rate is under 70%. Extremely good stats against right-handers, and he still limits hard contact against lefties. I think this maybe could work out for him. So Wrigley Field, wind blowing in. We don't have a total yet. I'm kind of expecting this to be around 7.5. If we get a flat 7.5, I will look at the under. Walker Buehler is amazing. I think he will shut down the Cubs. And I think Azalea can kind of limit the damage, and this game should stay under. If we get an 8, that would be a dream scenario, and I would be smashing the under. But I think we will get either a 7 or a 7.5, and depending on which one and what's the price, I would look at the under. Texas at Minnesota, Yang at Thorpe. I lined this game Minnesota minus 144. I think we will see something like minus 160. Minnesota has to be overpriced here. Yang making a spot start. I think this is his first MLB start. He only has a 15% K rate so far, 82% contact rate in 8 innings so far. No desire to roll with him against the Twins, one of the better offenses. I think today they took the first place in Team X-Woba rankings overnight, the Minnesota Twins. So yeah, they will be a top offense. Texas is bad. Yang is bad. Thorpe he looks fine. He only has a 4-inning start and a 1-inning bullpen outing, but he has an extremely high ground ball rate at 71% so far, with only a 21% hard hit rate. I wouldn't mind backing Minnesota here, but I don't think we will get value. Pittsburgh at San Diego, Darvish, Brubaker, skipping this game, 6.5 total. I never bet unders when the total is at 6.5. And I never lay more than minus 200 with favorites. It's not really a rule, but I rarely make exceptions. Total is juiced towards the over. So if this hits 7, this could be interesting. At 7, I would be backing the under. Brubaker is an amazing arm. Padres' offense isn't as good as people think, or at least the underlying metrics aren't as good so far. And Pittsburgh is simply the worst offense in the league right now, facing an easily top 10 pitcher in Darvish. Cleveland at KC, Shane Bieber at Singer. Singer coming back from an injury. Otherwise, I would be all over this under 7 here. So Singer got hit in the foot, and he was scratched in the last start, but he was developing really well. He went 3 innings, then 5 innings, then 6, and then 7. And if he weren't coming off the IL, and the KC bullpen got also a bit overused last night, and it's not a great bullpen. So yeah, the under 7 I think is a bit more risky and tricky than you would think with Singer coming off the IL. And we us not being 100% sure if he will go deep or how well he looks. As for the Indians, I mean, they are not a great offense against righties, just an 85 WRC plus 26% K rate, and Bieber is likely shutting this KC team down. But yeah, I'm staying away. I'm fading KC, but they have been overperforming, not just offensively, but the pitchers as well, and the bullpen. That includes the bullpen, and I cannot go under, especially when the 7 is juiced to the under. If we don't know how deep Singer will go in the game, and this KC bullpen is due for some regression. But this is a heavy lean of mine. I almost played it, but it has been moving towards the under. I think that's the only way you could look here. Yeah. New York Mets, this is the second part of the doubleheader. We are not talking about this game, but we are talking about the Tampa Bay LA Angels game. Yarbrough on the road, and Shohei Ohtani scheduled again. I will be fading Ohtani here if we get the price I expect that we will get. I think Ohtani will open up as a favorite here. My line is very close to a pick'em. I could see the Angels opening up a slide road favorites. If we get like a plus 110 with the Rays, that's enough for me. Yarbrough did lose some velocity against last year, but he's still not walking anyone. Just 4% walk rate, only 22.9% hard hit rate, high infield pop-up rate. He got extremely unlucky so far. His left on base rate is 58% through the season. This is a good pitcher. Angels are a bit weaker against lefties as well. And Ohtani, I have to fade him. He got pushed back after the injury, but this then ended up hitting in the game, and now they plan for him to pitch and hit in this game as well. And he's averaging under 5 innings, 45% hard contact, 21% walk rate, 21% walk rate. Yes, the dude is extremely talented, super fly guy, but I think he should just hit. And I'm not a fan, and he's always overpriced, so we will be likely on the race here. Final game, and this is another interesting one. Toronto at Oakland. Robbie Ray, Chris Bassett. Under is the play here. Total is 8. It was 8.5 when we've bet it. You can still find some 8.5s on Bet Online, for example. Robbie Ray coming off 2 nice starts at Tampa Bay and versus Atlanta. He had a sub-3 xFlip in both starts and no walks. That's super important. This is a guy who had walk issues in the past and velocity issues, and his velocity is up at 96 miles per hour, and he's not walking anyone. Tons of swings and misses. He is absolutely killing lefties, which is good, but also limiting righties. High infield fly ball rate. I really like Robbie Ray when he's rolling, and he looks like he's rolling right now. This is a great stadium for pitchers, and 8.5 was by far the worst line today out of all lines in all sports, probably. Chris Bassett, not big name or a super hype guy, but he's like really like this workhorse type of pitcher, and I really like him. Sierra at 3.8, 24% K rate, 12% swinging strike rate, not giving up any hard contact, 29%. High ground ball rate, super strong against righties, okay against lefties. And these are two nice bullpens. I kind of like both bullpens here in a good pitching stadium. The wind is blowing out a bit, but it won't be anything extreme. This should be an 8 juice to the under, and we get an 8 that's starting to get juice to the under. But I would probably still play it if you can find like better than -110 on the 8 under. But you will be able to find 8.5s if you look around. There are tons of shops out there with 8.5s. All right, so summing it up, plays that I really like. I like the Seattle under 7.5. This -111 is the last line that I would play. I wouldn't lay more than that if you don't have to, and you don't. Oakland under 8 at -110 or better. I think that's a strong play. And then I have a few games I'm looking at. So the Cubs game, we don't have a total, obviously, Wrigley Field. If this opens at 8, that's a 100% bet. 7.5 is a bet if it's not too juiced to the under. 7 is probably where I would pass. Minnesota money line against the sports starter and the weak Texas team. I make this -144. I think this will open up at -160 or -170, and we won't have value on Minnesota. But if it's a cheaper money line, I will be all in on Minnesota. And then I will be fading Shohei Ohtani with the Rays. +110 or better, that would be my entry point to this market. All right, thanks for tuning in. 35 minutes, both slates broken down. Please like the video and subscribe. It helps a ton. And if you want to tell my plays, you can go to patreon.com/thebettors and join the Discord channel. Thanks for tuning in. I will be back tomorrow, Thursday slate. It's a nice one. I already kept the games. Same times, 6 a.m. Eastern. And yeah, I appreciate you guys. Have a great day.